welcome back to another episode of 6 and 6, where we cover 6 stories from around the world in 6 minutes or less. With that said, start your timer. We start today in Australia, where a bill to limit the amount of foreign admissions to local universities has lost support before the final vote. Though the bill was sold as a restriction on migration, it lost support from one of the coalition leaders who claimed that it did not go far enough. From BBC, quote, "I just knew that we would be looking at international students used as cannon fodder in a phony war on immigration right through to the election now," said Mr. Sheehy, whose organization advocates for 39 universities. The cap proposed limiting new enrollments at 270,000 for 2025, a significant cut on the number of 2024. It had been due to come into effect in just 6 weeks, end quote. Currently, the opposition leader, Peter Dutton, has said he will be bringing a stricter bill to the floor if he is to win in the next election. Shifting focus to Europe, where Marine Le Pen has threatened to vote no confidence, which would destroy the current working coalition unless her concerns over the cost of living crisis are addressed. From Reuters, quote, "Le Pen's warning shot comes as she faces a major potential setback, with prosecutors seeking an obligatory 5-year ban from public office for her alleged role in embezzling EU funds. She denies the allegations. If judges convict Le Pen and uphold the sought sentence, she would be barred from running in 2027 during the presidential election, which many believe she could win. Some analysts have suggested Le Pen's legal woes could accelerate her plans to bring down the government," end quote. Next to South America, where a plot to assassinate President Lula da Silva has recently come to light in Brazil. From BBC, quote, "The 5 were allegedly part of a plot to kill President-elect Lula and his vice president running mate, Geraldo Alckmin, on December 15th, 2022, just over 2 weeks before the presidential inauguration. Lula was elected in October 2022, narrowly defeating incumbent Bolsonaro, who never publicly accepted defeat. A week after Lula was sworn in, Bolsonaro's supporters stormed Congress, the Supreme Court, and the presidential palace and vandalized the buildings. Police eventually cleared the buildings of the rioters and detained thousands. Next, we come to Africa, where a Ugandan opposition leader has been jailed while visiting the neighboring country of Kenya. Kizza Besigye was arrested while at a book release tour for a politician in Kenya. His wife, Winnie Benyam, has reported to the world via social media. From Reuters, quote, "I am now reliably informed that he is in a military jail in Kampala," said Benyam, who is the executive director of UNAIDS, the United Nations program on HIV/AIDS. Quote, "We, his family, and his lawyers demand to see him. He is not a soldier. Why is he being held in a military jail?" End quote. Or at least the end of her quote on social media. Museveni's government has been accused of repeated human rights abuses against opposition leaders and supporters, including illegal detentions, torture, and extrajudicial killings. Officials say the accusations and say those arrested are detained legally and processed appropriately by the court system, end quote. To the west in North America, where Honduras has been dealing with the aftermath of Tropical Storm Sarah. With the slow-moving nature of this storm, it was able to continually dump rain on the country for 4 consecutive days. From BBC, quote, "So far, Honduran officials have confirmed only 1 death, but said that more than 110,000 people have been affected by the storm, though more than 2,500 homes were damaged and more than 200 were destroyed, while 9 bridges were destroyed by fast-flowing waters and another 19 were damaged," Honduran emergency services said. Thousands of communities have been cut off as emergency services attempt to reach them. We close today in Pakistan, where former Premier Imran Khan has posted bail for his pending case about selling state gifts. From Reuters, quote, "Khan, 71, has been in prison since August 2023, but it was not immediately clear if the embattled politician would be released, given that he faces a number of other charges too, including inciting violence against the state. Quote, "If the official order is received today, his family and supporters will approach the authorities for his release," one of the party's lawyers, Salman Safard, told journalists. Safard added that, as far as we know, Khan has been granted bail and acquitted in all the cases he has faced, End quote. We will continue to follow this story and all the others and bring any major updates to you as things on the ground change. And of course, if you want to read any of today's articles, they'll all be linked in the description below that like and subscribe button. Also, in there, you can find the podcast on Spotify, Pocket Cast, Podvine. And if you want to listen to the other podcast that comes out on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, that is U.S. related, that is local U.S. news, national news, you can come back on those days, and you can also look on the YouTube channel, the RSS feed. And if you want to listen to the Twitter tirade, which also comes out on Tuesday over on Twitter or X exclusively, the Twitter handle is @YourDailyFlip. So with all that said, there's only one more thing to say. Stay safe, don't die.